Hi guys, this is JJ and welcome to the video. So what you'll be seeing this week for the training review video, it would be slightly different from the past weeks, but basically how I'm doing it is I'm showing you 3 weeks of training, especially my primary day, my top singles across the 3 weeks. And what we're going to do is compare how each of those top singles move and then share you some of my thoughts regarding these different days. So what you'll see here is my first week of squats, which is my 180 single, which I rated at about an 8.5. And what you're looking at here is my week 2 top single of 180 kilos again. So as this is a maintenance block, I'm actually repeating week 1 and 2 and doing week 1 and 2 exactly the same. From the top single to the work sets, they will be exactly the same for week 1 and 2. And the purpose of doing this is actually just to help me recover from the push block and prepare for the next incoming block. So what I would want to see across these top singles is just week on week, they just move a bit better, or at least they don't get worse. So the top single for week 2 moved at about an 8, which is a bit better than week 1. So you're looking at the week 3 top single right now, and I was just really trying to focus and hone in, and coming into this session I actually felt really good and really strong. So I just tried to not think so much and just push hard and do my best here. I think there's definitely a time and place to be analytical about your training, but then I think that when it's time to go under the bar, you have to just focus on what you need to do and just really execute and push hard. So 180 for week 3 moved at about a 7.5, which is really good considering this was my second attempt at my last comp. Basically what I've done here is line the videos side by side so that you can see and compare the speeds across the 3 weeks. And you can see that there is a noticeable speed difference across the 3 weeks, with the week 3 feeling and moving the best. So here's my back down for week 1, which is 160 for 5 triples. And what I will say is that squats this block felt really good, and as I approach week 3 I actually start to feel more and more recovered. So like I said before, week 2 is exactly the same as week 1 in terms of the program structure, so I'm just doing 160 for triples again. And I didn't particularly like this set because you'll be able to see that at the last rep I actually came onto my toes and my heels kind of lifted off the floor a little, and that caused a bit of a shift in the bar path and made the rep slightly more difficult. But at the same time, I would still rate the RPs the same across both of the weeks, so I would say that actually even without the missed groove I actually did quite well. So moving on to week 3, the back downs was actually 4x4 instead of 5x3. So we're pushing a little bit before we deload on squats, and I think this is the right call because I actually managed to do the 4th rep at about the same RP. So even within a maintenance block, I have actually sort of made some sort of progress in terms of moving bar speed and stuff. And you'll see Dustin telling me off for wasting Clinton's time to spot me as it moved that quickly. So anyway, moving on to bench press. My bench press top single across the 3 weeks was 132.5 kilos, and what you'll see here is my week 1 bench, which if I'm not mistaken I rated at an 8.5 maybe. So with bench press, we're actually, even though this is a maintenance block, we're not actually maintaining it, we're still pushing it slightly. But nonetheless, I think week 1 and 2 were still similar workouts. But what you'll see here is actually my week 2 132.5 top single. And I will say that for bench press, this was actually the week where it moved the best, and it was really well executed in my opinion. So I think this was also a same RPE, but a lot more confident. It's not a weight that scares me anymore. And moving on to week 3, I'm not exactly very proud of this set, but like I said before, 132.5 kilos is for on a bench press is not a weight that scares me anymore. So what you'll see is I actually just hit clean RPE 10, but I will say that this is a really clean RPE 10 in the sense that like if I got this kind of weight moving in comp, I would be actually really happy that I've left nothing in the tank for it. And the thing that I also want to say about bench press is I really executed the week 3 in a sense that in a way where I'm actually quite technically happy with it despite it moving really slow. And it's okay because even though I grinded it out, I didn't really feel like it took that much out of me. And usually when I grind a hard set of bench out, it really fatigues me, despite it being my range of motion being small, and despite it being a relatively sort of lighter lift as compared to the other lifts. So what I've just shown you there is actually 125 for I think 5 sets of 3s for week 1 and 2, and then again with the week 3 was I think it was 4 sets of 4, and yeah, you can see it didn't really move that well, but like I said, still weight that doesn't really scare me anymore. Alright, so we're moving on to deadlifts, and what you'll see for week 1 and 2 is actually 197.5 kilos, and you'll see how I pulled it. So one thing I've realized about my deadlifts is I think I'm at the technical capacity of my current technique, which is still pretty okay considering that I pulled 197.5. The only other times I moved these kind of weights is in competition, and my competition best is 202.5 kilos. So this, without the peak and everything, I would say that actually is a pretty good place to be, but if I continue to pull like that, I don't think that I can get that much further out of it, so I really need to strip it back and refine my technique. And so what happened with week 3 is actually, instead of pulling 197.5 kilos, I just decided to go to 200, and the reason I did this is because after pulling 197.5 on week 2, Clinton actually helped me work on my form, and I actually found that instead of taking another block for my form to stick, it actually kind of stick really well. So I thought, you know what, fuck it, let's try 200 on week 3 day 2, and this is how it moved. So you can see that overall I would say that my position of the floor is a little bit better. My hips didn't rise as much and stuff, so I would say that it's not something I still need a bit more practice in terms of moving this kind of weight, but definitely I think I have a technique that will really bode me well going forward. So aside from the top single, which was different on week 3, the deadlifts work sets were exactly the same. So it's 177.5 kilos for 5 triples across weeks 1, 2 and 3. So the issue that I'm actually trying to work out with my deadlifts is actually the issue of the hip rising and my shoulders coming forward of the bar, which makes for a really inefficient pull, especially at high intensities. So the strategy moving forward would be to take back the top single slightly and use the back downs and try to push the back downs in a way where I have to really focus on maintaining that good start position, get my hips close to the bar, and really force the external rotation of the hips and open up the hips to get really close to the bar. And you will see in week 3 where Clinton is actually helping me to work out this position and try to get my stance wider, as well as my knees to open up and my hips to open up. So the main difference you'll see here is actually if you look at the angle of the back, or specifically the sacrum area, you can see the direction in which it's pointed at as we start the pull. So I've removed my dynamic setup for a more static setup. Just pull the slack brace and then try to kick off with the legs while maintaining the external rotate position. So after the set, I'm just getting a bit of feedback from coach, and we're just talking about what I did well as well as what I should focus on going forward. So that's it for the video, guys. If you like this kind of stuff, do let me know in the comments down below, because this might be one of the last times I do a weekly review as we move into different content for Technique Matters. See ya!